Farcaster's On-Chain Summer continues with CastOut, and it's our final week. We are down to the final 4 players, each trying to outwit, outplay, and outcast for a chance to win 100,000 DGen. For the final challenge, the players will compete in Super Dunk by Pinata. But this isn't just a game of skill. They'll need to recruit other players on their team, and the cumulative score will determine which player wins immunity. The player at the top of the leaderboard at 11 a.m. Eastern on Tuesday will win immunity, and 2 of the other 3 will be casted out. Yes, it's another halving. If you're not a cast-out player, you can still play along. Back your favorite player on bracket.game. Plus, for this challenge, you too can play Super Dunk and help your favorite player try to win immunity. Are you ready, Anon? Let's outwit, outplay, and outcast this on-chain summer with CastOut. And thank you to our premier partner, Pinata, sponsor of both GM Farcaster and CastOut, and the creators of Super Dunk. Learn more about their Farcaster dev tools at pinata.cloud. GM Farcaster, and welcome to our CastOut edition. We have TLDR joining us from Bracket Game and recently voted out, casted out player Kristen with us as well. Member of the jury, Jace, our super fan, will be joining us in just a moment. He had to step away for a sec, and we are down to our final 4. So you just saw what the challenge was for this last group. And it's been a fun one. It was definitely more challenging than I anticipated. You know, we're learning things every time I try one of these challenges, but it was a lot of fun. It had a lot of interaction. And so Super Dunk was really interesting. The way that you played was you had to choose which player you were going to play for. Actually, it was this one. And choose which team you were going to play for. You're trying to hit it within 3 seconds, and exactly 3 seconds. And I saw quite a few people hit it exact. It was very challenging, but you could get into a rhythm and hit it almost exactly at 3 seconds or close enough where it would register. And there were multiple people playing for multiple players. So all through the night, and it really depended on how well you rallied your network. And it wasn't necessarily the person with the most followers who won, because that would be Cameron. And Cameron, I mean, early on went, everybody go play for Toady. He was out. He was like, I'm done. I'm not even going to try. And Toady was just really good at rallying his network to play. So it was quite impressive. So it was a lot of fun. I played a couple times. I always played for whoever was losing so that I didn't impact too much, but I wanted to play. So I played for whoever was losing at that moment, and it was a lot of fun. We had some memes come up. So this was mine that I spent way too much time creating. This was the current situation in CastOut Super Dunk with Toady Hawk. So yeah. And there was a few others that were similar to that. And then I loved this from Adrian. The bracket now favors the person who is best at counting to 3. So there you go. TLDR, I did love that you were supporting, pumping your bags. Let's be honest. Bracket community, are you all gamers? Come support Grace. Financial disclosure, I own Grace shares. Friendship disclosures, Grace is my bestie. Insider friendship. There we go. I also, loved this. The people want to know Toady Hawk. Does Toady Hawk have a job? Or did he make a bot? It was not a bot. It was full on rallying of community. Quite impressive. Grace was hanging in there. I mean, she made a lot of there was a lot of people playing for early on. And I was impressed, but just couldn't quite get there. And our final results were Toady 18 games won, Adrian 2 games won, and Grace 1 game won, and poor Cameron 0 games won. So yeah, So that's where we're at. So this was our final. Oh, here's our final global leaderboard. It says 20, but it was actually 18 because 2 of those were pre noon, so they do not count. But he pretty much rallied it to the end. So, did either of you play, and what did you think? Oh, and here's Jace. Bringing Jace back up here. So did you guys play Super Duncan? What did you think about the game? And who were you playing for, if you want to disclose?
I played and on a boat. So throughout...
I love it.
Yeah, so during the trip when I was voted out, all my IRL friends were laughing at me as my jaw dropped in the last episode. And yeah, I was trying to show them, look at this game where you can time yourself. So the respect for the Farcaster community may have further plummeted.
We did not help with the normies whatsoever.
No, it did not. But yes, I did play. But that's why I asked you in our vote out chats, like, can people see who I was playing for?
No. Nobody can see who you were playing for. It would only be if you disclose it, and you don't have to disclose.
Okay, so I'll keep it on the down low. Okay. But definitely, I do remember some things that happened last week, so that might have influenced some of my decisions. But yeah, I was very impressed by everyone's rally and gameplay, and also it was so funny when I heard through a grapevine that everyone found out that the game resets every hour.
Yeah. So I didn't even know that. Like, I think I knew that at one point, but completely forgot. So I was thinking we're cumulative going forward, and then realized that it was resetting at the top of the hour. And I'm like, oh crap. I'm like, that's actually better. It's actually way better, but I totally forgot that that's what happens.
That has a higher torture quotient.
Much higher torture.
Is always optimizing for torture.
But it also gave more of a chance, right? So if you were really far behind and you're like, I can't win this, you could, oh, wait a minute. Yes, I can in this next hour. You could just give up that hour. And then, and it also gave Grace an advantage because she's in European time zone. She actually had an advantage if she could have rallied people while the East Coast was sleeping. And I think that's when she won one of the games, but it just wasn't enough because Toady just had way too much of a reach to cross time zones. He was talking, he had people in Australia play. He was rallying. So it was tough.
You've never tried to rally Europeans before.
Yeah, it's hard to rally Europeans.
Yeah,
unless it's around football.
And a delicious coffee, and they're like, I'm not going to open my phone and press some button.
I'm busy. I can't be bothered. I'm watching soccer. I'm watching football. Jace or Tim, did you play Super Dunk, and who did you play for, if you want to disclose?
Yeah. I was playing for Grace and asked bracket people to play. When I was playing, there was something going on with the loading time where, like, if I waited till the clock went to 3, it was recording like 6 seconds or 5 seconds. So I was doing some math and trying to figure out like how to game it. And I was able to start getting some that were closer to 3, and casted one that I got that was like 3.01, which was fun. But yeah, I think I made like 5 or 10 shots. It was fun. I remember when it came out. It's a cool game. Yeah,
it was a fun little. It was one of the very early frames that came out that they Pinata did, and it's fun. I like it. You have to figure out it's so many different factors. It can come down to like your own Wi-Fi even of when how you hit it. But once you figure it out, it tends to work pretty similarly each time, but you can still be
so basically I need a new Wi-Fi.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But it also does not work well on laptop. It works so much better on mobile for me anyway. I could not get it was way too slow frame loading, at least on mine. So Jace, did you play at all?
No, I didn't play.
You didn't play? You sat it out.
Yeah. No, I
he's objective. He's our objective reporter.
Right. I didn't quite grasp that aspect of being able to play for people. So, and even if I did recognize that, like I've stayed neutral the entire time. So I don't have a interest. Well, I guess I could. I mean, does it give the option to switch who you're playing for?
Yes.
Because then I would have done that, like the same way that I do with bracket, where I just hold everybody equally.
Yeah, you could totally switch who you played for.
Mm.
And in each time, like you could go in each time or within the game. Yeah, you could do that. So
Next time.
Yeah, because I kept when I would play, I would just go in. Whoever was losing, I would play for just because I felt like playing, like just to test skills, not like I wasn't trying to help anybody really. Yeah. So it was fun though. I liked it.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. So we do have before we get to our results, which are going to be interesting. So the 4 remaining players had to vote for, they could vote for 2 of the 3 that did not win immunity. So Toady won immunity, could not vote for Toady. He's in. In the final 2 for sure. So they had to vote for the other 3. They could vote for 2, they could vote for 1, or they could vote not at all. They could vote for themselves, they could coordinate. I'll tell you right now, they did not coordinate. So multiple ways, right? So there's multiple possibilities here. And if there's a tie, I have a tiebreaker. So we're going to reveal some results. Are you guys ready? Or actually, before we do that, though, Kristen, I want to circle back to you because you were voted out in our last episode in a bit of a blindside. So you did not see that one coming. And you regret using your immunity idol too soon.
Oh, no, I don't regret using it too soon. I feel like what I regret was not securing the friendships as well as I thought I did. I think I had assumed that cordiality meant, we're on the okay side, but apparently not. So I definitely learned.
I think friendship is the wrong word. It's alliance.
Right, alliance.
Yeah,
and I did not think
they still may be your friends. They just may not have been your alliance in this game.
Exactly. And I think I just didn't think 2 steps ahead, because if I had thought through, even if like only the Mole team won, then we're back to, getting at each other. And I didn't realize that some folks may have thought that doesn't put them in a favorable position if I stayed in the game. So I have learned in life to think 2 steps ahead instead of 1 step ahead.
Yeah, that was a good learning lesson. You got to think ahead.
Yeah, it was a teachable moment. But so the thing that one of the points that I've hinted at in the past, and I've been waiting to see if somebody takes this concept and runs with it, is although the alliances and, the ebb and flow of villainy is like the things that grabs the headlines, with a lot of these games, and especially with a lot of the favorite players and the interesting outcomes, it really comes down to the connectors in the long run. And there are some people that you watch in shows like this who essentially say, screw it, vote me off if you want, but I'm not going to, play a game that I wouldn't be proud of.
Sure.
And it's not, a foregone conclusion that everyone has to be at each other's throats. Just as well, someone could be playing really clean and really trying to help and uplift other people. And if they win, everyone's thrilled. And if something happens to them that's, they lose, or they're voted out, or somebody does something really mean to them, then that also becomes something. It becomes this larger philosophical debate around yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Like what, how much do you hold against them? How much do you focus on gameplay? That'll determine, I think, a lot in the final vote.
Yeah.
So the final vote goes to the jury. So if you're not familiar with Survivor, TLDR, it means that
Survivor.
Yeah, we're like letting you know how this works. So those who have been casted out make the final decision as to who wins the game. And that can go a number of ways. It can get based on, you know, who you made the most connections with, who helped you in the game, who hurt you in the game, who played the best game. Sometimes people are just all about the gameplay, and they're just like, this person played the best game, period, regardless of whether or not they voted me out. So it really, it depends on so many different factors. And that's what makes it so fun. So Kristen, Heavyweight, Ted, and the 2 people voted out today will each have 1 vote to who wins. The rest of the folks who have been casted out before that, from the halving and before, will have collectively 1 vote. And their 1 vote will also serve as a tiebreak if we need one. So only if we need one, their vote will count as 2, but only if we need it. So there's going to be a multiple ways that this vote will come down. The last 2 will also cast their sort of plea to the jury, which normally happens in Survivor as a final tribal, where they get an opening statement, so to speak, and then the jurors get to question them about their gameplay. So 2 types of questioning will happen. The jurors will have a chance to submit something beforehand that can be answered by the last remaining castaways within their statement. And they can also post those questions in the channel or in the replies to that plea afterwards, after the fact, on an async basis. So we're going to have it a couple different ways, the way we're going to do this. And then the final vote will occur on Thursday morning. The jury will vote. I'll open it up probably like 10 a.m. Eastern, give a couple hours to do it. And then it will close at right before noon. And we'll announce our final winner on Thursday at noon Eastern. So right here. So that's how this is all going to work. But right now we have to reveal any thoughts, any predictions?
Yes. Can I ask a question? So what if there is a tie?
Yes.
How's it broken?
So if there is a tie today, so we could have a 3-way tie, we could have a 2-way tie. So we could have one that's completely voted out and then the other 2 are tied. And I have different options for both of those. So if it's a 2-way tie, we're going to a frame game. If it's a 3-way tie, we're going to another vote. So there's we're going to reveal that in just a moment.
This could get extended. So by a frame,
it won't get extended very long. It'll be a very quick game.
Okay.
It won't get extended very long.
And I love how when you were doing the tallying, you were so calm. Like this is before the stream started. I was watching Nanishmo doing the math, and me and TRDR like, oh, I'm so nervous.
And I was waiting for one last vote, and the last vote was going to determine how many ties, what tie we had, how we move forward. So if we have a tie, all those things, because it also could have been, you know, if they coordinated enough, there may not have been a tie, but maybe not. They all want it. Before we do that, though, Tim, I should go to bracket game real quick before we do any reveals. So right now, Toady has moved to the top spot, pretty solid, obviously, plus 39% right now. And Cameron is not too far behind with 20 owners and a 30.31 price. Adrian's dropped quite a bit, which is interesting. I'm kind of surprised.
No, this is super interesting. So just so you like have some context about the prices, if you click on anybody, you'll see kind of like the estimated price if they were to win, and it can't be certain because the prize pool is kind of moving around, but this is like kind of a best guess of like if they win, what will a share be worth?
Right.
It typically ends up being like a little bit more than that in these games, but like it's an estimate. So if you look at Toadies, it's sort of, if you click on that I next to the win price, you'll see that both first and second get payouts. So Toady is locked into 100% get a payout, right? So like this 46 actually, if you were to take like 68 plus 34 and divide it by 2, just if Toady has a 50% chance of winning, we would estimate that his shares would be at like 50. So like the market right now is basically saying that they're kind of saying that they think that Toady has like a little bit less than 50% chance of winning. Like that's kind of what that price indicates. For the other people who are left, by my rough math, like 20 is like if you think they have a 1 in 3 chance of getting to the final. So these 3 people who are left, if you think a 1 in 3 chance of getting to the final and then a 50% chance of winning, 20 would be like what would be the kind of expected price there, like by my thinking. So like if you look at it, basically the interesting thing is like both Grace and Adrian are kind of hovering around like the rational price.
Yeah.
And Cameron got a big bump. I actually thought that it might be because when a player makes a move that confidently of like, okay, I'm going to throw this to Toady, you just feel like they must have something up their sleeve is just sort of my reasoning of why Cameron might be favored right now.
I think you're onto something there. Because I'm a little surprised that Adrian has dropped. Because she was right in there too. She had people playing for her. She had, a couple games, but then Toady just organized better. However, the other thought is like, will Toady vote Adrian out because she's such a strong player? So that's probably the other thinking, I'm guessing, by some of the folks who've sold recently. And it looks like Yester Crypto did a big sale. And he went he went in on Toady. Yeah. So he made a move from Adrian to Toady. And that was I think that was the big hit on Adrian's price there. Yeah. So I think that's interesting. That's really interesting. All right. You guys ready to see what happened?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. Let me remove that one. And we're going to share something else here. Hold on one sec.
Gotta open up my bracket.
Here we go. So our first vote out is Grace. Unsurprising. Our second vote is Cameron.
Oh, no.
So 1 Grace, 1 Cameron. Another Grace. So 2 Grace, 1 Cameron. And then we have Adrian. So 2 Grace, 1 Cameron, 1 Adrian. Then we have another vote for Adrian. So we have 2 Grace, 2 Adrian, 1 Cameron. Then we have another vote for Cameron. So now we have a 3-way tie. So 2 Grace, 2 Adrian, 2 Cameron.
What?
2 more votes, potentially 2 more votes left. We have another vote for Grace. So we have a vote out of Grace. Grace, you have been voted out. We have a Grace vote.
No.
So 3 votes for Grace, 2 Adrian, 2 Cameron. And guess what? That's it. No other votes. So we have a tie between Cameron and Adrian.
Wow.
And so we will go to a tiebreaker. And the way we're going to do this tiebreaker, and I have no idea if they're watching right now. I see Adrian in there. Hopefully Cameron's watching, or I'm going to drop a note in just a second. They're going to play Minesweeper. So because Adrian did win 2 games in Super Dunk, she is going to plant the mines. And then she is going to tag Cameron in that game. I am going to drop the link in the chat in just a moment. And then whoever wins that game is going to be the one who will continue on. So dropping the link right now. I have no idea how quickly they'll do this. So hopefully they heard me. And I'm just going to type in the instructions really quick. Plant the mines, and Cameron, tag Cameron. So hopefully they're available too. That was the other thing I didn't think about.
Is there like a frame version of Minesweeper?
There is. It is fairly new. Yeah, it's fairly new. and then Cameron will try to find the mines. So avoid the mines, actually. And post result here. Okay, so I'm just letting them know in the chat. We have a final 4 chat. So I'm letting them know, which I have to actually remove Grace from. Oh, sadness. Sorry, Grace. So we will await that result. I have no idea if it will come very quickly. It could. We might have to just do this later and post the final version, but we know that Toady will be our final, and then either Adrian or Cameron will be the other, and it's going to be pretty much, there's a little skill involved, but mostly it's luck. So we're gonna leave this up to a little bit of fate, a little bit of luck, and I don't know exactly when we'll have the final result of this one. But
wait, can we do like a live stream of him playing?
I don't know if he's available right this second.
Right,
I mean, they could come on and show us the game if they wanted to. I would not be able to do that, like show their game until it's over, I think. And then it'll show in the post, the bot will show who won. So but they would have to come on. So if they're available and they want to come on and show playing the game,
it would be so fun to watch.
I know.
To watch, like, with both of them on, like watching it unfold.
Yeah, I have no idea if they're available to do that. So
you know what would be interesting in the
hopefully
future?
she's paying attention.
In the future, you know what would be an interesting addition is to do a few preemptive tiebreaker challenges.
Yeah.
So like you get everybody that's available on, you let them do something, the winners get like one fractional tiebreaker vote. And then
that's a good idea.
Down the line, it does get into the situation, you just look at your Excel spreadsheet and say, all right, so-and-so
you have a tiebreaker
that.
vote. Yeah, that's another way we could have done this. And also, something we talked about earlier was I could have made the score in the Super Dunk the tiebreaker. But because I didn't think of that ahead of time and tell them ahead of time, I didn't want to do it retroactively.
That would have totally changed Cameron's
because it would have changed Cameron's approach, I'm sure. So but that's probably what I should have done, so and then that way it would be good. So Adrian, I don't know if you're still in the chat, but go look at the other chat because you have something you need to do for the tiebreaker. And I have no idea if they're readily available right now, so I'm hoping they are.
At least Adrian has yelled tiebreaker in the unruly chat.
Tiebreaker, so I think she knows what's going on. And then I know Cameron's in here as well. So, and he said he was ready if there was a tiebreaker. So we'll see what happens. But this is exciting. And then and then we go to the final end. So I would love to know from each of you what you have enjoyed from this and what you've always been really good about feedback as we went along, but like one thing you'd like to see changed or different next time around, or a challenge that you'd like to see that we didn't do of something that you've thought of. So I have a whole list of other things I did not do that I was thinking about doing. Yeah.
What were some of the things?
Well, for one thing, if we had more team ones, I wanted to do a mint and have you mint something on either ZOR or a highlight and see which one got the most mints or most mints and comments. Add comments as like a higher point score. So that was one. There was a few others. Now I'm trying to remember my other ones. There was a few other games. And then I ruled them out. Yeah, so there was a tag game that I almost used, but then he took that tag game off. So Breadcat. There's another really good one that I will definitely do next time, but I needed to work with, if I can, if JTGI will work with me on this. Do you guys remember the Shibuya frame? The game? No. I don't know if you remember. Okay. There was a frame. You minted it. You minted pieces of a puzzle. In order to see the puzzle, you had to be following other people who minted. And if you're following, then you could see where their pieces, and then it put together some seed, like it was basically a seed phrase You were pulling the words, and then you were going in and grabbing the reward that was in the wallet. So it was really cool. It was really, really cool.
And you could put an immunity idol in there.
Exactly.
There
or just an immunity trophy. Either way. Yeah. So there's multiple ways to do it.
What I think would be interesting to, and this is more a production value thing for next time around, is for us to have a little more of a structure around, rather than there being just these phantom NPCs that are playing games and then we hear about someone voted off and don't hear much more about it. Actually having just a little more in terms of production value. The confessionals were really great. To prompt with, do a confessional, answer 3 of these 5 questions, and they could be in varying degrees of showing one's hand. I like the idea of slow cook confessionals. So if somebody gives something that's really spicy and really interesting, it's sent into you and it has a release date that is later on in the game. So they could give something away that's really interesting, and based on viewer interaction could, rank them in a hierarchy of like, whoa, this was a huge revelation versus like, nah, this is kind of iffy. But then also having team dynamic clips where, people get into a video call and we just get a glimpse into, okay, your team is talking through this process now. That could also be delayed fuse. So just production value things. But other than that, it's like, I'm curious to see what the next generation of players do and how I can mess with them.
I love that. So, the other thing I was thinking about too was with the confessionals, and I just didn't have enough time to put it together, was using rounds and a reward within rounds, so that the ones that get the most likes and sort of gating those likes to our hyper sub or people who own a certain token, maybe past players, things like that, and having them be the ones who sort of determine that reward. So that would be something I'd like to do in the future as well. Tim, how about you? Any thoughts?
For me, I think it's more like, what tools are there to let the average Farcaster user start to see how fun this is and like all the strategy that's going on. So it's like, I think the people who were there and were paying attention, it's like it's so fascinating. There's so many layers and it's just so much fun. And so I'm thinking of things like, I understand that the group chat element, that the privacy is like part of the strategy, but I think like there might be something worth exploring of like, what if that was happening in a channel? There's like a channel for this tribe and a channel for that tribe, and like
I think that's a great idea.
You could see what's happening. You could see the machinations. Now there might be other group chats you're not aware of,
right?
Like things that let us see more of it unfolding publicly. And then I think the other thing is that I'd like to see games where the results are where the contest is more like a live event, so that I can see the winner and loser unfold in front of my eyes and like kind of be held in suspense like I'm watching a game, right? Because I think a lot of these were determined like behind the scenes, but I was like, this Minesweeper game, if we were all tuning in,
I should have them doing it live on here.
Well,
You're 100% right.
Whenever there's opportunities for us to like actually watch them perform and see the event unfold, it doesn't have to be all of them, but I think some of those could be like a really fun, kind of community viewing event.
Another thing that just came to mind is there could be a weekly resetting or a weekly accumulating audience tiebreaker factor. So you could put a Ponder survey up and say, in the event of a tie, who do you want to, for or against. You could say, in the event of a tie, who do you want to save? And
I thought about that for this one too, is using using that as the tiebreaker, but I thought of it a little too late. So again, it's like have to set some things up ahead of time. One thing, they really can't play this one on stream. Well, Cameron could. Adrian can't, because it would literally show where she was hiding the mines. So I just thought of that. Yeah. So that would be a little bit of a problem. But he could, as he was searching, then he could. So the person who was getting the other side of it could.
And how do you win Minesweeper? You have to clear everything?
So in this particular mini game, the person who's starting the game is hiding 2 mines. And then the person they tag in the frame is going to go and try and find those mines or avoid them. And if they avoid them, then they win. If they blow up, then the person who hid them won.
So you have to avoid all the mines.
There's only 2. So there's a grid of, I think it's 9 spots, and there's 2 spots that are going to have bombs. So
I'm the person that you have to describe all of the
that's okay.
Obvious things, Survivor, Mines.
It's fairly new, and it's by Play Mini is the project or the company name, Play Mini, and they are at Play Mini, MINI, on Warpcast, and they're going to be doing a bunch of different games within frames. So, and this one's pretty, it's pretty like it's your typical Minesweeper kind of thing. And so I think it's really fun. So I'm excited to see what else they put out there. Adrian is on it. She is setting it up. Hopefully it works the first time, but who knows? We could end up with multiple ties here. Just waiting on them to let us know. Tim, is there anything you've seen with Bracket Game that that you've been surprised at or would change next time or anything like that in terms of the way we approach it this time?
So Bracket is all about it. It's all about like being tuned in to the events as it's happening, right? So like what makes it really different than like a Vegas bet is like, in Vegas, you say, I'm going to put down $10. If they win, I'm going to win 100. And you just kind of watch and see what happens. And so in Bracket, whenever if you put down your, 1,000 degen on something, even if your team is losing or your player is losing or whatever, if you're fast at seeing that before other people do, you can recoup your value or even make profits if people had bought over you. So like a lot of Bracket is about being able to tune in and be faster than other people about how it's seeing, you're seeing it unfold. And so that's where I think that these events were huge for, when they're seeing the vote happen. And if we can create more events where it's like they're watching the performance and to Cameron's,
they're getting more data, right?
They're getting more
data,
more decision making that they can have opinions about and trade on. So like, I think that would make it fun, especially if the events were like not super long, like if it was like a 5-minute or half hour or something, they would be trading actively, I think.
And they tied again. Okay.
What do you mean?
They've tied in Minesweeper. I can't even believe
they tied in Minesweeper?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
It is possible because I'm guessing that he found that one blew up. So Cameron's going to hide them this time.
Oh. I hope someone's military experience.
Yeah. So I'm just letting him know. You hide now. Okay. So, this is like tic-tac-toe almost too. It's kind of funny. Trying to manage a game while doing the stream at the same time. A little challenging. So I could use a production assistant next time. So this is, I'm ready. Adrian just said I'm ready to vote myself out.
She's like,
You do with that what you will, bracketers. I do think the other thing with this approach is that when you're watching a soccer game or golf, you're not playing. When you're doing cast out, you can have an impact on the outcome. Like you could have been trying to help Adrian win Super Dunk, you know, and other things we've done. You've had a way to like pump your own bags, if you will, by, you know, voting on the meme, all that kind of stuff. So there was multiple times where the audience got to interact and actually have an impact on the outcome. So
yeah, I want to say that Yes to Crypto has been the master of many like frame-based games, and someone I went to many times to be like, how are you on the leaderboard for everything?
He loves a leaderboard. Let me just tell you right now, loves a leaderboard. We see you in there. And speaking of, here he is. Yeah. Howdy.
Oh, right, because he's on the YouTube side of things. I actually saw for the first time the YouTube versus Unlonely.
Okay, challenges set by Cameron, seeing in chat, and Adrian must be playing Fox versus Fox.
Fox, very exciting. Yes, Fox versus Fox. We've got a Fox challenge.
Yeah, that could be the cabal.
Yeah.
The philosophical foxes.
Toady just said, I asked Yes to Crypto for advice on Boragon, and he said, play a lot.
Yeah, I got the same advice.
Play a lot. Yeah, he loves a leaderboard. Yep. Yes to Crypto loves a leaderboard. Okay, so we're just waiting for them to play one more time. And hopefully we'll have a result. Although Adrian, is ready to. She had the option to vote herself out. I did say they could vote for themselves. She chose not to. You could have avoided.
Tie.
What's that?
Mish just commented another tie.
Another tie.
I think that's delayed.
JK.
I was like, first of all, how does she know?
Yeah, how does she even know?
I want her feed.
Yeah, it happens pretty quick. Minesweeper's very fast, and it happens automatically once both people connect. So it is really, really pretty quick. How would she know?
If we get another tie, then it's official. We're all losers.
Yeah. And all of this has been, I really have to say, I appreciate the players so much, because this has been such an experiment. And so there's been a lot of things that didn't go the way I intended. There's been a lot of things that have been a little crazy. And what happened here? So who won? Cameron won? Cameron won.
His only laughing crying face.
Wow.
Cameron won.
Look at that.
Looks like Cameron, if that's what I'm seeing a screenshot, and it looks like Cameron did win. No, you won. Wait a minute. Who won?
I won.
I thought it said Cameron won. Who won? Adrian won. I apologize. Adrian won, not Cameron. The way I was reading the thing, it said you won, but it looked like Cameron's profile pic underneath. So Adrian won this last one. So Adrian and Toady will be our final two going into Thursday. And both will be putting together a little something for the jury.
Your announcement just cost so much.
Sorry. I'm so sorry, bracket players. I apologize. I was misreading.
I think there's some confusion with the players too in the chat.
Right back.
Yeah. So let me confirm. Are we confirmed? Yes, we're confirmed. The players have confirmed. Cameron has confirmed. Adrian won. So apologies. Adrian is the winner. So Adrian and Toady face off as our final two contestants, our final two players. And wow, that's not what I expected. I got to tell you, I kind of expected. I'm not surprised by Toady. I am surprised that Adrian made it this long.
Wow.
I told her that the other day. I thought she would be out sooner.
We're about to see who made more enemies.
Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see who made more enemies. I think for this one, my guess is it'll come down to a little bit of that, but I bet it will come down to more like whoever thinks somebody played better. But it'll be interesting to see what the jury asks. You know,
Right.
their questions will probably show a lot of what you know, what they're thinking. So
yeah, now this is tough because both players put their heart and soul and their family at risk throughout the entire series. So kudos to them.
Their family. I know. I've gotten multiple messages like, "You said this was not going to take a lot of time." I'm like, "Well."
Yeah.
I also didn't anticipate the level at which you were going to play it. So there's that.
Wow. So in the final two, it's Toady and Adrian now.
Correct.
Okay.
So final
if you
two.
flip that again.
No. I was just gonna say, Tim, you might want to update bracket game. It says Grace and Adrian are casted out.
Yep.
Oh.
Ooh.
Whoa. Whoa.
We're
I
just.
didn't even know that. You're right. Quick. Sorry. My bad. Yeah. So, and then that means that Cameron and Grace are now in the jury. So the jury is really interesting. You've got 2 Mole and 3 Wow on the jury. So you've got Ted, Heavyweight, and Grace, Kristen, and Cameron.
Yeah. Well, I guess now it's safe for me to reveal that me and Riley and Cameron were playing together the whole time.
I kind of knew
when
that.
I said, "Oh man, it's so much." If 3 of us collaborating this whole time does not end up with one of us in the final, man, we suck. So
you know, and if I kind of guessed that at one point, a couple things happened, and I didn't reveal votes of who voted for what early on. So I was seeing some of that information in the background, and then when you when you gave Cameron your idol, that was obviously, you know, a big indicator.
That was a really complicated process where I had to learn about POAPs and how they work. Because I actually, to win...
You had to move it to mainnet. Did you have to move
it did. Because I couldn't even get my own friends to trust me. Because Riley and Cameron thought I was messing with them the entire time. And the only way I can get him to trust me was from me trying to transfer the idol to a shared wallet.
Wow.
So that's why it was really complicated. And I had to bug POAP help desk. We're like, what's wrong with you with all these custom requests?
That's amazing, though. That's very cool. I didn't realize you had done that. I think that's an interesting idea, by the way, that the hidden immunity idol could be put in a safe that could be used by multiple people if they wanted to share it in that way. And that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and that was the intention of my video. I was taunting Ted and I was showing the idol because I wanted everyone to have the impression that I was the only one holding the idol.
Right, and that you were going to use it. But also the other thing is people can look because the idols were on the blockchain, they could figure out who had them, but a lot of people didn't bother looking, which I thought was very interesting. I was like, you guys can figure out it, because people kept asking me who had them. I'm like, I'm not going to tell you. But you can figure it out.
Ted was the only snoop in this entire game.
Yeah, she was very good at that. That's why she made it too. That's why she almost won Crypto the Game, because she is very good at the blockchain investigation. So she was the only one and she was the one who finally told people who had the idols, but it was interesting to see. All right. Well, that is it for our Cast Out edition. Our finale is on Thursday. We'll be back here at noon, and I'm excited to see the next couple days. So you'll see I'm going to be reaching out to the jury, get their questions. Jason TLDR, I'm going to ask for a question from each of you as well for the final, for the contestants. You can just drop it in our chat. Great. Something you want them to answer in their final video video plea to the jury. And then we'll also have an opportunity for the jurors to ask questions, or anybody really, to ask questions on the timeline in the cast.
I got a question.
So,
I got a good one.
Oh, good. I'm excited. I'm excited to see Jason's question. And those questions can be either video or written. So we'll see how this plays out. But I'm excited to wrap this up and see how this goes and see who wins 100,000 DGen as we roll into the end.
And then after the finale, you get the tell-all. That's
with the tell-all.
Really yeah,
I know. We got to get everybody on. So I'm going to invite all the former players are welcome to come on Thursday at noon, share their experience before we do the big reveal. and share their experience playing the game and who they, anything that they want to say about the final contestants, and then we'll reveal the final winners. So that's what Thursday's game will be.
The bracket prize pool is now up to 590,000 DGen.
Wow,
that will
great.
Be split. The holders, 80% of that prize pool will go to the holders of the winner, and 20% of that prize pool will go to the holders of the second place, and then whatever percent of shares you own, you get a piece of that piece.
I love it.
So there's still some action to be had there.
Yeah, and for sure.
Toadie's on pace to, make some money. Toadie bought himself at the very beginning of the game. That was a very, very powerful sign.
They all asked me if they should, can we, Cameron was on it. Can we bet on ourselves? And I said, yes. And you should always, in this game and in life, always bet on yourself.
Yes.
So yeah, it's going to be, and on brand. Adrian did not buy herself, did she? On brand. On brand. Not a better. Not a DGen. Let's be honest.
No, it's a good way to hedge your bets. Just buy everybody else.
Exactly.
If you
At least you win something, even if you lose.
Hell yeah.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate all of you popping in. This has been really fun. Thank you to Pinata, who's been our sponsor for GM Farcaster and this show. And I'm excited to see who wins, who our final person is. And with that, we're going to say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.